If everybody come up like the Gadsons family, there won't be any problems. I'm not gonna say we were the best people in the world, but we were one of the nicest. And I would hope that any family would come up like us. It'll be a whole different kind of world.
She said she just was resigned to being a single mother, but she said she and Mo sat down and talked about it. He said, I know you just want me to go away, so but I'm not ever going away. I'm going to be a part of my son's life. And she said after that they got counseling and everything worked out. And he was a great dad.
I don't remember engaging, like running around with my dad holding this. I don't remember any of that. My mother, on the other hand, was mostly the disciplinarian. I don't ever remember my father disciplining me, but I hear stories from my brother that he was a disciplinarian. But I don't remember him ever disciplining me. But my mother wasn't going to take no stuff from nobody, including me.
Mom picked out the beat, and when you done something really wrong, she told you to dad, you usually wouldn't hear that. But he didn't beat you. He set you down and explained to you what should be going on.
I think that if you want to get a real picture of who Hattie Gadson was, then I think it's important that you realize that she raised 11 children who graduated from high school. All of them graduated from high school. All.
I hung out with a group of girls. One of those girls' dad, I want to say he was in the mafia. He was a criminal.
He's like a little gangster, him and Doc Booker and them and that. Yeah. Mother said they were gangsters. So somebody called my mother and told me that my sister Nia was down at Zach's club. It was during the day.
Downstairs in his club, he had a piano, and this girl took piano lessons. So one day we go with her, and that's the only time I ever did it and never did it again. Went with her to his club. He locked us in downstairs. She played the piano, practiced the piano. We all got up and left. When I go outside, who's standing there? My mother. They said, your mother's standing outside. I said, oh, shit.
I just felt so bad for Nia that day. And,
I loved him, my brother, as a brother, but I didn't like him too much as a person. I thought he was kind of mean.
I would say that he was an evil man, right? I mean, he had his thing, but I mean, as you look at it farther back, he was in the war. He could have had PTSD or something else that we didn't identify what happened, but he always treated me very well.
Harold was a boxer, and on the clothesline, he would hang a cooker sack full of old clothes and stuff, and he'd wet it down, and he would do his boxing out there. I used to sit there and watch him all the time, so I decided I'd try it out. And I went out there and pushed it, and it came back and hit me, knocked me down. That was enough for me.
Dot and I didn't develop a relationship until really later on in life. Dot she would always host Thanksgiving dinner. She lived in the housing projects. There must have been 30 people in that house. And we go sit around and eat and stay there in that hot ass house or whatever and be happy.
Kid had a three-room apartment, one bedroom. When we went down there for the wedding, Mom, me, and Ron, and Dorothy, we all stayed in that apartment. Well, Dorothy decided she's a fisherman, She decided she wanted to go fishing. So she went down on the thing there and came back with the whole bucket of fish. I said, you caught all those fish? She said, no, the man gave them to me. I said, you went down there and stole the man's fish? She said, I said he gave it to me, or you stole that fish. And she cooked that fish, and we had a ball.
I want to say upscale, but it wouldn't have been hard for Lucille to be bougie. In fact, I think she was a little bougie, actually.
When I was in nursing school, Lucille, who bought the first house in our family, lived on 13th Street upper northwest.
Going up to my sister, I'm in DC now. I'm going up to my sister Lucille's on the bus, away from southeast to northwest. I'm riding, going to see my sister. So walk in the door, that's Quentin and his brother Kevin and Nicole. They're infants. I mean, they're little kids. I mean, real little. So and they have a babysitter. It was Auntie.
She used to have parties, maybe every other week, or it might have been every weekend, but I think it like every other weekend at her house. And I was in nursing school, and I used to go up there to parties, big party, serious parties. My sister Lucille was the sister who taught me my social graces.
He was a good baseball player. I thought his basketball wasn't that great, but baseball and softball, you couldn't beat him. We could understand him when the grades came to class because we had no transportation.
He saved my ass. I was a senior in high school. We must have been on New Year. We were on some kind of break. It must have been New Year's or something. They had a party from Clarendon up the river to Elizabeth, and we all went, although my mother told me I couldn't go. So I get home. We live in the housing projects now on the third floor. I get home. I go to turn the corner to go up the steps, and all of my clothes are in the hallway. She put me out. The only person I could call at the time, I went to his house. It was Bill. He laughed. He let me stay there. He went and talked to my mother, and I went home the next day.
In Clareton, nobody would mess with me at all, because your Uncle Mag and Uncle Bob were the roughest guys in Clareton. And, I can remember sometimes say, man, you can't mess with it. That's Mickey. It's your Uncle Mag. That's Mickey and Bob's brother, little brother. So, that saved me from getting harassed or anything like that.
And Bob went to the military when they graduated from high school. Mag he must have been someplace like California, someplace like that. I can't remember. But he sent a whole chunk full of records home one day. And he's the guy that introduced me to jazz.
Henry and Bob were one of the best in baseball.
Bob was always special, man. He made you feel special. He always had great stories to tell you.
Girls loved my brothers. They loved Moses, but they loved Ken more.
Ken didn't have no secrets.
That was the life of Hattie. We all grew up. We left home. And after we left home, we all realized the stress she had been under. So we pampered her until the day she died. Mo took her on a cruise. Ken would buy her. And she used to tell me, I need a television, but don't tell Kenneth because he'll buy one. I said, Kenneth, he needs a television. He says, okay. She said, I told you not to say anything to him. I said, well, you need a television. He's the one with all the money right now. Let him buy you a television.
That was Mo. I ran away when I was pregnant. So I ran away to New York for a weekend.
I mean, I'd be in New York as much as I possibly could be in New York.
I packed up a suitcase and got on the train and told Mo, I'm coming to stay with you for a while. And I went up and stayed. Mm-hmm. We shopped.
And he was the kind of guy that would introduce you to everything. So we went to his Hispanic place where they spoke Spanish. I said, I don't speak Spanish. He said, I don't care. We're going anyhow.
One thing I can, you can remember about John she was always nice.
I changed my lifestyle a lot from being, I don't call me wild, but I was out there, and I thought I needed to calm down a little bit. So I was going through transition. I was changing the way I dressed, the way I looked, the way I wore my hair, all that stuff. And I said, oh, well, I like Nia. So at a family reunion, I said, I'm going to change my name. Your grandfather says, "Oh, this crazy girl." David and I used to fight once in a while because David was Ken's boy and I was Mo's girl. And they would make us fight. Actually, fist fight. I could beat him up until he got bigger. He got bigger. And then I left him alone because I knew he could beat my butt. All right. All right. And he's always looked out for me. He's one of those caregiver kind of personalities. So if you're in distress, he's going to come to your rescue. All right. If you treat him well, he'll stay there. But if you don't treat him well, he gone. He gone. All right. And if I see other people mistreating him, they're gone. All right. So we look out for each other, but he looks out for me, I think, more than I look out for him. And he always has. Even as a little brother, he thinks he's my big brother, but he's not. I tell him, you are not the big brother.
I think it's one of the greatest names in the world. Yeah, I think the Gadson family did well. Uh, we had good parents, and he had good siblings. So I would put us in the top bracket.
I love life as a Gadson, and I love those who come into our lives. So if you marry into our life, like your wife, marry into our life, and you decide someday that you're not going to be together, guess who's still in our life? Your wife. All right. Um, don't have any children. Oh my gosh. You have any children? And y'all split? Guess who's in our life? Mama and children.
To me, being a part of this Gadson family is an extension of being a part of a world family, because I have my own siblings and we didn't have the same kind of relationship that the Gadsons had. So I am far more comfortable when it comes to being a part of a bigger, a wider circle as a Gadson, because that gave me so many opportunities to be a better person.
That was family. And we were very close. We stayed really close to her until she died. And then we all divided, which I really hate. So I'm glad we're having a family reunion now because I truly miss them.